Question or thought from last week that maybe you didn't get a chance to talk about. Okay, to give us a setting here, we are in the practical application section of this particular book that began at the first of chapter 4. And really what he's talking about, I think, is personal development of us as individuals that leads to unity, that leads to harmony, that leads to overall growth of the body. And this is something that all of us as Christians should be very aware of and deeply interested in. You know, how can I grow? How can I prosper? How can I be a benefit to the congregation rather than a drag on the congregation? All of us should be looking for opportunities to serve, opportunities to participate, opportunities to be more involved. It's easy sometimes for us to sort of sit back and let other folks work and serve us, and sometimes I guess that there is a place for that. But as we think about Christianity, and as we think about the church, it is a place of work, not per se a place of rest. It is a place of service. It's a place where you and I can be of a benefit to others, and it is through our service of others that we serve God. So if you and I are not involved in serving others, in encouraging others, in teaching others, in uplifting others, whatever way that we find that we can do that, if we're involved in that, then we're going in the way that God wants us to go. If not, then we may have allowed that little selfishness to move in. You know, I think that probably one of the biggest problems that we have as Christians is selfishness. We kind of want to do what we want to do, how we want to do it, and when we want to do it. And as you look back through the scriptures, we find that type of attitude has never been pleasing to God. It does not benefit us, it doesn't benefit others. So, to look at ourselves. In this last few verses that we looked at last week, particularly verse 24, and that you put on the new man, which is created according to God in true righteousness and holiness. When we were baptized into Christ, we put off that old man, we put off that old garment as it was, that way of thinking, that way of living. Now, I think realistically, we all understand that just because a person was baptized doesn't change us completely. It does take away our sins. Because of our obedience, God promises to add us to the church. So that this change is something that begins at that point and continues. So we must work at it, I guess, is the point I'm trying to make. Changing our attitudes, changing the way we talk, changing the way that we think. And this idea of this new person that's trying to do what's right, that's trying to do better, is what Paul is dealing with in this particular section. So in verse 25, he starts out here as he looks at some particular areas by talking about our speech and our talking. And notice he uses the word therefore, at least in my translation, beginning in verse 25, because we have put on this new person, because we are striving to do better and be better, he says, therefore, one of those areas that you really got to watch is the tongue. putting away lying, that each one of you speak with truth with his neighbor, for we are members of one another. Be angry, do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your wrath, nor give place to the devil. I guess that, one of the biggest issues that any of us would have is to guard carefully what we say, how we say it, where we say a particular thing, to truly be honest and truthful up forward, that regardless of what we are saying in life. And of course, lying and or misrepresenting the truth is one of the biggest challenges. We live in a day where a lot of folks will lie anytime that it is convenient and assume that everybody else does too, and thus folks are somewhat shocked to be told, you shouldn't lie. You shouldn't, say things that are not true. We live in a world, in society, even, you think about the television, even in what maybe has been considered a good, clean show. I think about the Andy Griffith Show. And, basically there's a moral principle in there. But have you ever noticed that almost in every show, Andy lies to protect Barney? There's a problem, isn't it? And it's kind of made out to be a good thing because you don't hurt anybody's feelings. Folks, lying's not good no matter what. Now, we do need to be concerned about other people's feelings. We need to be concerned about what we say and how we say it. And we shouldn't, have that brass added to you and say, well, the truth's the truth, and the truth hurts. Well, yeah, it does sometimes hurt, but it doesn't hurt nearly so much if we speak the truth with love and compassion, and folks understand that aspect of it. So this idea here that he's setting forth is something that we need to carefully think about and carefully understand that for the Christian, truth needs to be first and foremost, and we need to be honest. And probably for most of us, the best thing is to keep our mouths shut lots of times and not talk nearly as much as we talk. How many of you said something and immediately wish you could swallow it back? Have you done it this morning? We do, don't we? We say and sometimes we pride ourselves on being brutally honest. Well, there is some things to be said for being honest, but that word brutally there, that's contrary to what the Bible teaches. There needs to be love, there needs to be compassion, there needs to be understanding, and this has been a problem and a struggle, down through time. In Revelation 21, in verse 8, the writer there, as the pen of inspiration is about to be laid down and the New Testament completed. And as John wrote this, the church had been in existence now for maybe 50 plus years, going back to somewhere around AD 30, 33. Now we're up to maybe 90 to 95 there in that first century. But it's interesting that in this list of terrible sins, John lists liars, and he says that all liars will have their part in the lake of fire. So it was a problem. It was an ongoing problem. And even after these folks that we're being written to, many of them have been Christians for many, many years, they still needed to be reminded that they needed to be truthful and honest. And I guess, we need to sort of look at ourselves this morning and how do we grade out as far as, what we say and how we say it. Are we really truthful? Are we really honest? Are we guilty of gossip? Do we talk about others to hurt and damage? Even if something is the truth, sometimes it don't need to be said. We, I think, have an even greater challenge today, maybe than folks in the past have had because of social media. Sadly, people sometimes will text or Facebook things that they wouldn't say to a person's face. But, we're not there. We're not in front of them. We need to realize that the truthfulness and honesty and compassion doesn't change just because I'm texting. It doesn't change because it's Facebook. Truthfulness and honesty and love for others it needs to be used in every area of our lives so that we are portraying Jesus Christ and the love and the understanding and the compassion that He does. Anybody with a thought there?
Really, and I've heard people say, "Oh, I just told a little white line."
Yeah, totally white line. Yeah. I don't think you find anything in the Bible about white ones or black ones or purple or polka dotted lines, do you? And sometimes we do. I think deceive ourselves into thinking, well, it was for a good reason, or it really didn't hurt. Well, it does hurt. Little lies become bigger lies, right? They can become a way of life. And it's like sin. There's really no big sins or little sins. Now, granted, some have greater consequences and greater degrees of consequence or punishment. But our tongues can cause us to lose our souls by not being honest and truthful and respectful. And yes, sir.
All right, I got a question. Let's just say your best friend is the ugliest person that you've ever seen in your whole life. And he comes up to you one day and he says, "Steve, man, I'm not ugly. You tell me what possible good it could possibly do by you saying, yeah, I think you're ugly, bud, you're ugly as can be." Now, how would that possibly be taken with doing it in love or any other?
Yeah.
Any example?
Okay. How would you might want to respond. How would you answer
We're
that?
all beautiful in the eyes of God.
Everybody's beautiful in the eyes of God.
Okay, so you don't think that if you avoid the subject and avoid answering him, but just saying something else, that he's not going to be hurt by?
One of the best.
Because I've heard people say, "Hey, you're so ugly, only your mom could love you." But that right there is basically telling him, man, you're that bad.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just don't, when you weigh the two together,
Yeah.
of the damage you can do, yet,
Well, couple things. One thing, I've heard people say that thing too, something about just ugly, only your mother could love you. I don't know that I've ever heard that said where somebody was being honest and sincere, wasn't trying to hurt you. Okay, that would be number one. Number two, if that person says that to me, I would respond, I think, like Jesus responded many times, and is, why do you ask me?
yeah.
Now, I'm not being dishonest.
But he said,
I want to, okay, let's say it's you. Okay, I'm going to say, okay, Roger, why do you say that? Do you feel that way? Man, you shouldn't feel that way. God made you. And I tell you what I've done in teaching kids. This is a real issue, and I don't teach kids a lot. Most of it's at Bible camp. But one of the things that I try to do in working with kids, and lots of times it's 10, 11, 12-year-olds, I try to emphasize to them that God loves them no matter what. No matter what. And if you look around, beauty is a lot in the eyes of the beholder, right? You ever seen this real beautiful lady? And man, she's got the ugliest husband you ever seen. And I'm thinking, whoa, but there was a story told, and this lady was, she was in the movie star category. And she married this old homely boy, and somebody asked her about that, because she could about dated anybody she wanted to date. And her answer was, he loves me. He wasn't ugly in her size, But what I do with kids, is I say, we've all got things. I say, look at these ears, I've got like Dumbo sometimes. And I'll show them my feet. I'm not the biggest guy in the world, but I wear a 10 and a half. I can wear 11. But I've been doing that since I was 12 years old. I was about this far out as I was this far up. Like a square or something, that you're using and cutting a board into. I've got enough wrinkles to share with some of you if you don't have any. Am I an ugly person? No. God made me. Are you an ugly person? No. God made you. So there's honest ways of dealing with that. But I would respond with a question. Hey man, why do you ask me that? Do you feel badly about yourself? And lots of times I don't have to answer that question per se. I've got to get them talking. What? Do you feel badly about yourself? Do you feel insecure? Has somebody said something that hurt your feelings or whatever? That there's ways of being honest without, doing damage to somebody's character or somebody's morale, so forth. And I know that may not be, but lots of times I find that, people will say things like that and quit laughing and like it's a joke. Those things hurt. Those things hurt. I can remember, I guess one reason I was conscious of it, I think it was in the 7th grade, and we were doing some track and field type stuff, and I'd taken my shoes off and put them somewhere, and I can remember this girl saying, man, those are big shoes. Whose are those? I walked off. I wasn't going to admit those are my big shoes. Those things hurt, And so, it's not funny, Why are you so tall? Why are you so skinny? Man, you must eat the whole house this morning. We're tall, we're short, we're skinny, we're fat. We are God's creation.
I may be wrong, but for me, sometimes it'd be a lot easier just to say, hey, you look fine.
Exactly.
And well, look fine, rather than trying and kind of awkward all of a sudden, because like I said, I waited two together as to what could possibly be the more hurtful. And somebody asked me, and I just tell them, hey, you look fine.
Well, and
just move on.
To me, that's not being dishonest. If you are honest in what you say, because man, look at us in here. Man, we are. There were color, shape, size, ears, noses. How many of you got something that you wish was different? Every single one of us, right? All of us at one time or the other says, I wished I had somebody else's nose. I wished I had somebody else's hands, I wished I was taller. I wished I was shorter, that type of thing. But, you are fine the way you are. It's the heart, that we're dealing with here. And so, it's a good question. And it's an everyday question, that people will ask and say things. And, we need to be honest. We need to be truthful. But there's a lot of ways of complimenting and a lot of ways of being honest, with a person rather than just, bluntly saying something that's really going to damage a person's self-esteem or ego about themselves. So, you are a beautiful bunch this morning, and I mean that from my heart. I am glad that you are here. Okay.
You can just plain get in a habit of being negative.
Yes, sir.
It's not just about things like that, but everything you're looking at. I like your truck, but I wish it was a different color.
Yeah, and that's a good point. As a Christian, what are we looking for? What are we looking for? Really, I should be looking at your heart. You see? What is your personality? The most beautiful people in the world are not the movie stars. Are they? Because sometimes when you get to know them, man, they're a sorry bunch. And I know that there's good among them. And I just use that as an illustration. But the most beautiful people in the world are those that are kind, sweet, and honest, and truthful, and, will do anything in the world to help you. Those are the beautiful people. Those are the people that, you want to be around and you want them to be friends. And that's who we ought to want to be. Yes, sir.
Real quickly, we have to remember that when we deal with hypothetical questions, the Lord was always asking a lot of hypothetical questions, and they're always designed to be a trap. The best way to stay out of a trap is don't step in it.
Yep.
Okay, that's the easiest way to keep from bleeding. So what you do is exactly what you suggested a few minutes ago, is ask a question and avoid the trap, because if they ask him a question that they know the answer to, because generally we all look in the mirror every morning, and most of us know what we look like, or at least pretty close. It's not exactly, because if you really want to see what you look like, look at the picture. But because when you look in the mirror, you're left, right, reversed. I mean, we won't get into all that. But what the deal is real simple. Don't step in the trap, because they are asking that question for a reason. They're trying to put you in a bad spot so that no matter what you say, you're wrong. Just don't step in the trap.
Yeah. And Jesus did that.
And Jesus did exactly that. Anytime they tried to trap him with a question in the law,
yeah,
he didn't jump in that trap. He asked a question, or he said something that answered it in a way without addressing directly that question.
On one occasion, one good example, he said, how do you read? They said, what does the law say? And he says, well, how do you read? And they responded, and he said, that's right, and then he went on to comment. So you're exactly right. And life can be rough, life can be tricky sometimes, and we can ask questions sometimes that are definitely challenging and difficult to be honest about it. Especially my experience has been in dealing with kids. They can be brutally honest sometimes, and our tendency sometimes may be not to be honest with them and to be truthful with them. We should try to do that, but we should try to do it also with love and understanding. Now, this next verse, anger, the same thing, our speech. Be angry and don't sin. So it's not a sin to be angry. Jesus in Mark chapter 3 was very angry with the Pharisees because they were doing a little bit what Bob's talking about. They were trying to trick Jesus. They were trying to put him in a bad spot. They were trying to make him look bad. They were hypocritical. Many times they wanted everybody to look at them as being very righteous and very religious, when in fact their motives were not pure and honest. So Jesus got angry. Jesus did not sin. So the issue that we have to be concerned about is, what we say and do when we're angry. My philosophy has been, if I can, and definitely number one is just to keep my mouth shut, at least until I have a chance to put my brain in gear. Have you ever not done that? you respond right back, and you say something hurtful and mean because they said something hurtful or mean and made you mad, and then you so regret that to have responded in a mean way. You definitely don't want to, pick up and throw things or hit things when you're angry. So we need to recognize that anger is not a bad thing if we are angry for the right reasons. And in fact, anger can help us sometimes. We should be angry at sin. We should be angry at a lack of justice when people are being mistreated. That's something that should really get under our skin, so to speak. When we look at things that are happening and things that are being done that are hurting people, we need to be angry about those things. Hopefully that anger causes us not to do something ugly or mean, but to do something good. Do something about it, rather than allowing it to cause us to give up or quit or make the matter worse. And in fact, that's what happens lots of times, is we make matters worse. If we can, calm ourselves, if we can think, one of the best things that I've found, if somebody's yelling at you, really sort of reading your pedigree, if you respond at all, you respond quietly. Have you ever tried to yell at somebody that would yell back? Doesn't work. You ever tried to fight with somebody, you won't fight, they won't fight. And, it sort of diffuses the whole thing. And to be calm, to be quieter, to wait and think it through, because sometimes we'll have to admit they're mad at us, and they're mad at us because something we did or said that we should not have done or said. And we need to apologize. We need to make things right. So we sometimes cause anger in others. Anybody with a thought there? There are a lot of examples in history. One, Alexander the Great, the military leader that was probably not surpassed before or since. He got real mad one time. He had a good friend with the name of Cletus, and he got real mad at Cletus. He picked up his spear, threw it, killed Cletus, best friend. Killed him because he didn't control his anger. It just, something flew all over him, and he just had the weapon there, and he picked it up. You have to live with those kind of things. And I'm sure even with Alexander, who was far from a religious or a righteous type of person, he still had to live with what anger did with them. Now, this little expression, do not let the sun go down on your wrath, I think is important. We need to deal with anger. The devil would really like for us to sort of stew on it. The devil would like for us not to, sit down and talk to somebody that we're upset with. The devil would like for us not to apologize. He would like for us to sort of cherish those evil feelings or those hurtful feelings or those anger type feelings and let it be there to the point that it sort of explodes and we really say or we do something that we ought not to do. So if there's a problem today, if your wife says something, your husband says something, one of the kids does something, whatever, we need to talk. We need to work that out. Don't let the sun go down. Most issues are settled quite easily if they're settled on time. It's when somebody hurts our feelings and we don't say anything, we sort of think about it, and the more we think about it, the more upset we get, and we let that happen for a week or so, and then we end up saying something that really is out of line or sinful, because we didn't deal with it in a timely way.
Or we involve a bunch of people.
Yep, yeah. Line up, in fact, I've got that right here. You don't go out and tell your friends and put it on Facebook about how sorry that person is. You don't try to find sympathy for your cause.
And let's find out if people made a mistake about what happened.
Yep. Our tendency is to do that, when we get mad at somebody, is to talk to everybody but them. And then, a lot of times we find out that we were completely mistaken. We're about out of time to give you a quick illustration. There was something that happened back in our fellowship hall a few years ago, and a person made this statement, and this other person heard it, and it really hurt their feelings. I mean, in fact, they came and told this other person, you really hurt my feelings, but what you said. Well, this person didn't know what they were talking about. Well, got to do a little research and found out that another lady had made a statement, not about this lady at all, but this lady heard it. She didn't know that it was this lady, she thought it was this one. And now, what is it, the tangled web we weave? But anyway, she was mad. And this lady that had heard this statement, right after church, this was on a Sunday morning, and at lunch day, the offended party, the one that had been accused, went to see that person. This would probably be about 1:30 or 2 o'clock Sunday afternoon. Explained, I didn't say that. Somebody else said that. Everything's fine. By Sunday night, everything was settled. Everything was explained. Nobody quit. Nobody stayed mad for a week. But it was one of those he said, she said, and out of context, and those types of things happen. But if we will follow the Bible, and we will talk and not be so defensive and so forth and so on, lots of times those things can be settled, and you can hug that person's neck and move on. And that's exactly what happened in this particular case. And I think it was handled biblically. Now, don't always work that easily or that quickly, but it does work. Okay, verse 28, he gets into another idea, and remember that he's dealing here with everyday practical things. He's dealing with situations like Roger brings up, stuff that happens, questions and things. All of us like to talk, and most of us like to talk too much. And we have to be aware of that. And that's going to move in to working and to providing for yourself and providing for others. So very practical, everyday admonitions to us on how we live. We'll close right there. And, at this rate, we'll be done in about 2022. I appreciate your comments.